The Young and the Restless Spoilers. The tension in The Young and the Restless reaches a fever pitch as Nick faces the consequences of a brutal confrontation. His life hangs in the balance, his body bleeding out from a severe wound, marking the beginning of a nightmare that will not only threaten his survival but unravel the very fabric of his relationships with those closest to him. Nick's struggle for survival. The chaos of the previous confrontation left Nick badly injured, with a deep wound to his abdomen that continues to bleed profusely. His body is weakening, losing blood rapidly, and with each passing second, his chances of survival dwindle. As he slips in and out of consciousness, the gravity of his situation becomes increasingly clear. He knows that without immediate medical attention, this wound could very well be the end of him. Sharon, panicked and desperate, is the first to act. Seeing Nick's blood staining his clothes and pooling around him, she rushes to find help, her heart racing as she realizes the severity of the situation. With no time to waste, she turns to Billy for assistance. Together, they manage to move Nick, though every second feels like an eternity. Sharon's voice trembles as she urges Billy to get Nick to the hospital, her mind consumed with the terrifying thought that it might already be too late. But despite their best efforts, Nick remains unresponsive, his body slipping deeper into unconsciousness. The blood loss is staggering, and it's clear that the wound is far worse than anyone had anticipated. Sharon's face is streaked with tears as she watches the man she loves struggle for his life, and every minute that ticks by feels like a cruel reminder that time is running out. At the hospital. A race against time. When they finally arrive at the hospital, the atmosphere is thick with tension. The urgency in Sharon's voice echoes through the sterile halls as the medical team rushes Nick into surgery. As the doctors work quickly to stabilize him, Sharon is left in the waiting room, helpless and terrified. Every beat of her heart feels like a countdown, each one bringing her closer to the possibility of losing Nick forever. Nick, still unconscious, is aware of the severity of his condition. He knows that he's on the brink of death, that without the surgery, he won't make it. As he lies in the hospital bed, his thoughts drift to the things he hasn't said, the secrets and truths that have remained locked inside him for too long. He feels the weight of the situation pressing down on him, and he knows that if he doesn't speak now, he may never have the chance again. With every breath he takes, Nick struggles to hold on to consciousness, determined to speak his truth before it's too late. He knows that his life is slipping away, and he feels an overwhelming need to make peace with those around him. He whispers his final wishes, his voice barely audible as he calls out for Sharon. Sharon's heartbreak and plea. Sharon, unable to stay away from Nick's side for long, finally enters the room where he lies, barely hanging on. His eyes are heavy with exhaustion, and his breath is shallow as he murmurs his final words. Sharon leans in, desperate to hear him, to understand what he's trying to say. Her heart breaks as Nick, weak and barely conscious, confesses his regrets, his fears of not having the time to right the wrongs in his life. Tears fall freely from Sharon's eyes as she listens to him, her heart aching with every word. It's a cruel reminder that life is fragile, that moments can slip away before they're ever fully realized. Nick's voice cracks as he speaks, and Sharon, unable to bear it any longer, gently presses her ear to his lips. She listens, her own body trembling with the weight of his words. But as she hears him speak about death, about the things he wishes he could have done differently, a surge of desperation fills her. Sharon can't bear the thought of losing Nick, not now, not like this. She refuses to let him go, even if it means defying his wishes. As Nick's fragile body lays before her, she can't let him succumb to despair. "Stop talking like that," Sharon cries, her voice breaking through the silence of the room. "You're going to make it through this. You're going to survive, and you will be back here with me. I won't let you die, Nick. You hear me? I won't allow it." The words spill out of Sharon like a frantic promise, a vow that she will do anything to keep him alive. "Don't you dare think about dying," she continues, her voice fierce and filled with determination. "You're not allowed to leave me, not now, not ever. Get up and fight for your life. I won't accept anything less." Her words hit Nick like a wave of electricity, waking him from his stupor just enough to hear her resolve. Despite the pain coursing through his body, despite the darkness that threatens to overtake him, Sharon's voice gives him a reason to hold on, a reason to fight. The power of hope. Sharon's plea becomes a lifeline for Nick, a thread that connects him to the world he's afraid of losing. He clings to her words, his heart strengthened by the force of her love and determination. For the first time in what feels like an eternity, Nick feels a glimmer of hope. He knows that he has to fight, not just for himself, but for Sharon, for the life they've built, for the future they could still have together. As the doctors prepare for surgery, the tension in the room is palpable. Sharon's heart races as she watches the medical team work on Nick, but in her mind, she holds on to the promise she made to him. She won't let him slip away. She won't let him die. She will fight with everything she has, and she'll make sure that Nick has the chance to fight, too. In that moment, Sharon's love and determination fill the room, creating a force that Nick can't ignore. It's a bond that transcends the darkness of the situation, a promise that no matter what happens next, they will face it together. With Sharon by his side, Nick finds the strength to keep going, knowing that he's not alone. And as the doctors begin their work, Sharon's final words to him echo in his mind, a beacon of hope that guides him through the storm. What happens next? The outcome of Nick's surgery remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. This crisis has set in motion a chain of events that will alter the lives of everyone involved. As Nick battles for his life, Sharon is forced to confront the possibility of losing him, and in the process, she finds herself stronger and more resolute than ever before. Will Nick survive the surgery and return to the life he fought so hard to protect? And what impact will this near-death experience have on his relationship with Sharon, as well as the future of their family? As The Young and the Restless continues, the emotional fallout of this ordeal will reverberate throughout Genoa City, leaving characters to grapple with the consequences of their actions, their decisions, and their love for each other. The true test of strength will not just be physical, but emotional and relational, as Nick and Sharon navigate the uncertain road ahead. In the aftermath of Nick and Sharon's harrowing ordeal, the emotional journey that lies ahead is filled with uncertainty, passion, and a longing for redemption. They've survived the worst of situations, but what remains now is the question: can their love survive the aftermath, the betrayals, and the challenges that await them? Will their bond grow stronger, or will the weight of their respective pasts and the external pressures tear them apart? Their future is clouded with doubt, yet hope still lingers, hope that their love can transcend the chaos around them and become the fairy tale ending that they both secretly desire. The dream of eternal love. Nick and Sharon have been through more than most couples, enduring heartbreak, tragedy, and personal turmoil. But after surviving the close brush with death and the harrowing events surrounding Nick's life-threatening injuries, they've found solace in one another once again. Sharon's fierce dedication to Nick, her unwillingness to let him go, has rekindled the flame of their love. As Nick regains his strength, Sharon's words continue to resonate in his mind, her promises of hope, of love, and of never giving up. For Sharon, this crisis has reaffirmed the depth of her feelings for Nick. She's seen him at his most vulnerable, and yet, in his weakness, she's found strength, a love that is fierce, unwavering, and ready to fight for the future. In many ways, the pain they've both endured has deepened their bond, making them more connected than ever before. Their shared experience, the emotional journey they've taken together, has transformed them, giving their love a new intensity that wasn't there before. But the question still looms: can they keep this love alive, in a world full of chaos and doubt? Will the peace they've fought for last, or will they be torn apart by the forces beyond their control? Their future is uncertain, but one thing is clear: their love has been tested, and it has come out stronger. Kane and Carter's actions, consequences and accountability. While Nick and Sharon are fighting for their love, there are others whose actions have directly contributed to the chaos in their lives. Kane, Ashby and Carter are at the center of a deeply unethical and dangerous scheme that has left Nick in harm's way. Both men took matters into their own hands, deciding to imprison Nick without the consent of the police, all while manipulating the narrative to make him the prime suspect in Damien's murder. This breach of the law and their overreach in dealing with Nick has set off a chain reaction that threatens not only Nick's future but the very fabric of justice in Genoa City. Kane, struggling with his own personal demons and the fallout from his past actions, must now face the consequences of his decisions. His involvement in the unlawful detention of Nick cannot be ignored. Kane's feelings of guilt and fear will weigh heavily on him as he realizes the magnitude of his actions that have put Nick's life at risk and turned him into a scapegoat for a crime he did not commit. Carter, ever the loyal friend but blind to the consequences of his actions, finds himself on the defensive. His motivations, initially rooted in protecting those close to him, now seem increasingly misguided. His failure to see the bigger picture, particularly the danger of framing Nick, will haunt him as the truth unravels. The pressure to protect his own interests, while simultaneously betraying his moral compass, is something that Carter will struggle to reconcile. Chance's fury. Seeking justice for Nick, one man who will not stand idly by as this situation escalates is Chance Chancellor. As a law enforcement officer, Chance has always prided himself on justice and fairness, but seeing his friend Nick, someone he's known and trusted for years, being wrongfully accused of a crime he didn't commit ignites a fury in him like no other. Chance, unwilling to let this injustice slide, will take matters into his own hands. His desire to seek revenge on those who have wronged Nick pushes him into dangerous territory, forcing him to decide just how far he's willing to go to make things right. His anger isn't just rooted in the injustice of the situation, it's also personal. He's known Nick and Sharon for years, and seeing Nick suffer, especially in such an unfair manner, cuts deeply. Chance will use every ounce of his power and influence to dismantle the false narrative surrounding Nick's involvement in Damien's death, determined to clear his name and put an end to the wrongful imprisonment. His thirst for justice will clash with the more calculated, ruthless methods of others involved, particularly Victor Newman, whose influence looms large in this entire situation. Victor's protective nature. A father's vow. Victor Newman, a man known for his strategic mind and unyielding drive, will not allow his son to suffer in silence. His protective instincts as a father have always been strong, but this time, they are taken to new heights. Victor will not let Kane, Carter, or anyone else tarnish his family's name or allow Nick to be punished for a crime he didn't commit. His fierce loyalty to his children, particularly Nick, will push him into action as he takes steps to ensure that those who have wronged his son are held accountable. Victor's tactics may be ruthless, but they are always calculated. He will move swiftly and decisively, using his power to manipulate situations in his favor and bring those who have betrayed Nick to justice. As always, Victor's goal is clear: protect his family at all costs, no matter what the personal or moral cost may be. His intervention may be the only thing standing between Nick and further suffering, and as the situation unfolds, it becomes clear that Victor will not let anyone, least of all Kane or Carter, derail his family's future. The aftermath: will Nick and Sharon's love endure? As the dust settles from the explosive revelations, the future of Nick and Sharon's love remains uncertain. They've fought through the worst, and their bond has grown stronger as a result. But the forces around them, Kane's mistakes, Carter's questionable decisions, Chance's fury, and Victor's powerful interventions, will continue to impact their relationship. Will they be able to move past the trauma, the lies, and the injustices they've faced and emerge stronger together? Or will the weight of the betrayals and external pressures force them to drift apart? The possibility of a happily ever after for Schick seems tantalizing, but as always with the young and the restless, nothing is ever simple. One thing is certain: Nick and Sharon's journey is far from over, and their love, tested by fire, will either burn brighter than ever or fade into the ashes of the chaos around them. As they face the aftermath of betrayal, justice, and the ultimate fight for their future, only time will tell whether their love story will have the fairy tale ending that they both desperately desire. This chapter delves into the deep emotional and moral conflicts the characters are facing. From Nick and Sharon's hopeful yet uncertain love story to the consequences that Kane, Carter, and others must confront, this chapter is filled with high stakes and personal reckonings. The drama of the storyline continues to unfold, leaving the audience eagerly awaiting the next twist in the saga.